This is Markiplier, and he's currently making this face because he is being stabbed in the abdomen by a Twitter mob pitchfork. You can't see it off screen, but it's happening. You see, he has committed a grievous sin, according to Twitter, and that sin is asking ChatGPT a question. Now, yes, it is as ridiculous as it sounds. That is what I said, and that is what he did. He asked ChatGPT a question. Now, you may be asking yourself, why on earth would somebody get canceled for that? As did I, because when I first saw these posts, I thought that I didn't understand the drama. I was reading it as my wife showed it to me because she stumbled across it on her Twitter feed, and I was reading everything and I was so confused. I thought that there had to be more to it. I was actually so confused that I asked Grok what was going on, and Grok explained the exact same thing that the people in the comments were saying. I realized then that my brain was refusing to accept that this was actually why people were mad. My brain could not take the stupidity of all of this and accept it as fact. That is how dumb the situation is. So we're gonna go ahead and dive into it. Go ahead, eat some lion's mane or something real quick, something to guard your brain cells, because you might lose some as we dive into this. But before we do, we need to up those numbers. We need to hit that 1,000 subscriber mark as fast as possible. So I would very much appreciate it if you guys could smash that subscribe button and like button down below. We need to up those numbers, boys and girls.
Let's up those numbers!
Let's go ahead and see exactly what Markiplier asked ChatGPT that made Twitter so angry. And after that, we'll go ahead and see what Mr. More Pegasus has to say about it. Let's see exactly what sin Markiplier committed.
Hold on.
Oh, and before we actually start this, I just want to let you know that the person that posted this clip of Markiplier talking to ChatGPT is one of the angry people. You can't see it off screen, but the actual context behind this post from the OP is the way my face fell during this whole 2 minutes. I didn't have Markiplier defending AI usage on my regular Wednesday afternoon, basically saying they can't believe Markiplier would defend and or use AI, saying that this is some sort of crazy sin. With that said, let's actually see what Markiplier asked ChatGPT.
Hey, I was just wondering if you could tell me what the protein profile of sunflower seeds is?
Yeah, hey, sunflower seeds are a good source of protein. They contain all essential amino acids, but not in perfectly balanced amounts. Typically, they have around 20 to 25 grams of protein per 100 grams. They are especially rich in methionine and cysteine, but lower in lysine, so they aren't considered a complete protein on their own. If you combine them with other sources like legumes, you can create a more balanced amino acid profile.
I didn't listen.
Yes, he asked about sunflower seeds and legumes. Well, he didn't really ask about legumes, but ChatGPT brought it up. But that's not the point. He asked about sunflower seeds. Twitter is canceling this man for asking about nuts. That is where we are as a society right now. We are canceling people because they talk to a technology that almost everybody uses to ask about sunflower seeds. And then, in a massive turn of irony, because Markiplier actually doesn't like AI, thinks it's bad for the environment, and overall is not a massive champion of AI. In fact, he's quite the opposite. He really doesn't like it at all. Markiplier then proceeds to ask this question.
No worry.
Oh.
I asked because, you know, that's ChatGPT's, like, voice talk feature.
Everyone's gonna hate you.
I love it.
What about the water?
What about the water?
It's stealing the water.
Where?
I don't know how it works. I've been told. It's taking the water.
Oh.
I'm not gonna lie, this guy is giving me hardcore the schnozberries taste like schnozberry vibes.
Isn't it? Isn't it? Shh. Put his eyes back.
Well, okay, so the thing about that is in computers, data centers need water. Do you know why?
Cooling?
Yes, cooling. So that's what they're doing. That's what they mean when it's taking the water.
Who takes more water? Okay? Mm-hmm. ChatGPT or almonds?
Bro, I would smack that guy's foot out of my face so damn fast.
Let's ask ChatGPT. Hey.
Like, I get they're messing around, but bro, don't put your stankin' ass foot in my face, please. That's so gross. I know some people have like a feet fetish or stuff, but like, bro, I'm personally so disgusted with feet. I'm sorry. That just bothers me.
What would consume more water? The data centers that power you and your ability to answer my questions, or almond growing in all of California?
All almond farming in California uses significantly more water than data centers. Almonds require around a gallon of water per almond, which adds up to billions of gallons annually. Data centers also consume water, especially for cooling, but the volume is much smaller compared to large-scale agriculture.
You're not just saying that because you're ChatGPT and you wouldn't want to be accused of stealing too much water, are you?
Nope.
And that's it. That's the clip. That is the clip. It is innocent enough. He obviously did not make this thinking that people were going to get mad and cancel him because he asked ChatGPT a question, ironically, wanting to know if ChatGPT was polluting the environment to a degree that is worse than almond farmers. With that being said, let's go ahead and hop over to Mr. Morpegasus's video on the situation, because if I have to read the Twitter slop one more time, I actually have it up and I was going to share it with you guys. There is an article Dexterto wrote and a bunch of other crap they've reported on with it to basically summarize the entire Markiplier AI situation, where they wrote Markiplier is being called out directly for supporting AI research, but he believes the tech can do good. There are reasons to be critical of AI the way that it currently is, but that doesn't mean that it's entirely, as a concept, a problem, which I tend to somewhat agree with. I think that AI is probably going to turn into the Terminator one day and take over the world, but nonetheless, that doesn't matter. There are great uses for it, just as there are bad uses for it, such as taking people's jobs and other things that I don't like, and obviously the pollution and stuff. But I think that the direct impact on people losing work over it is probably a little more serious in the long run. However, I guess you could also tend to play devil's advocate and make the argument that if your job is replaceable by a machine, then your job might not have been that important. But the way that I see it, when you take human jobs away from humans and give them to machines, you hurt humans, and humans are what supports the economy. The economy is made for people, not robots. So in my mind, that does bother me. This is actually the first post that was actually made on this whole thing. I don't know if you could see it, but I'm going to go ahead and share it with you guys. This post right here from a account with pronouns in their bio, Free Palestine, bipolar disorder, and whatever the other one is. I don't care right now. I just don't. But they were one of the first posts to essentially call Markiplier out for the AI thing, saying Markiplier, one of my favorite YouTubers since I was 14, is defending AI and uses it with this really weird, ugly GIF. And basically this got a lot of traction and people started sharing it around. And now we are in this situation where Markiplier then proceeded to make this live stream that you're looking at, which we are not watching because it's an hour and a half long almost, and that would make the video way too long. But in this live stream, he defends himself and explains his position on this. However, we are going to watch Mr. Morpegasus's video on the situation because I'm sure he probably broke it down already, and I like to hear his takes and see what he has to say. He's also a little more willing to farm through Twitter than I am. I hate going to Twitter. That being said, though, let's go ahead and hop into Mr. Morpegasus's video. Link to his original video will be down in the video description, of course. I'm going to speed it up a bit because this one's a little bit long, so if he's talking fast, I'm sorry if that bothers you, but I just don't want this video to be, absurdly long. Let's go ahead and hop into this video and see what he has to say.
Okay, we gotta talk about the Markiplier situation. Basically, people are trying to cancel him now for allegedly supporting AI. So we're gonna go over everything from the video that is apparently getting him canceled.
What on earth was that? Did YouTube just glitch? That was really weird. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what that was.
Where people are saying that he's defending AI, to people accusing him of using an AI thumbnail and apparently promoting AI in his podcast. We're gonna go over the cut-up clips that people are getting mad about, all of the Twitter drama, the rampant mental illness, and in fact, the backlash got so bad, Markiplier actually made an entire hour-long response stream.
Yeah, that's what I just showed you, was that stream he's talking about. That's why we're not watching the whole thing. This video is already a half hour. An hour and a half. This video would probably be like 4 hours long. I'm not trying to make it that long. But I will say, just to fully summarize all of this, there was something I just now remembered where Markiplier back in, I believe, 2024 accidentally used an AI stock image in a thumbnail. and that was also something that caused him problems with Twitter. They were mad about that. They're just mad that Markiplier used AI at all. He also compared it, I believe, to the Honey situation. And if you guys don't know what Honey is, Honey was a browser extension that would clip coupon codes for you, basically. However, instead of using coupon codes like you think, the way that Honey would make money is they would essentially steal from businesses and from affiliate marketing creators. So, say a creator gave you an affiliate code and you have Honey installed on your browser. Honey would then, at the last second, swap out the affiliate code on the website you're purchasing from for their affiliate code, so that way the content creator wouldn't actually get the money. Honey would get the money sent to their PayPal. That is what Honey was doing to essentially make money. There was also some extortion going on with small businesses behind the scenes where Honey would basically threaten to allow customers to purchase from them using coupon codes that they otherwise weren't supposed to have, to give them unreal deals that would cause the companies to lose money that were for like employee discounts and stuff like that. And these deals would then be thrown in the faces of these small companies by Honey so that Honey could extort them into working with them and giving them exclusive codes that would give them affiliate related money, basically. It's a long, ridiculous, convoluted thing that was going on, but Markiplier called it out before it actually became a known thing. He didn't say what was going on. He just said that he felt that it didn't make sense how they were making money and that it seemed scummy or shady, basically. And that's why he refused to take a sponsor from Honey, even though every other YouTuber on the platform pretty much was taking a Honey sponsor while they were still popular before this whole thing happened. So Markiplier did make the comparison to Honey with the whole AI situation, where he essentially said that he was sounding the alarm on AI just like he was with Honey before it was popular, which you could argue might be kind of true, but there were a lot of people sounding the alarm on AI before AI became what it is now. There were people thinking that the second they heard AI, that Terminator was going to show up and we were going to have an actual real life version of Arnold Schwarzenegger out here and taking people out. That's what people were thinking, that AI was just going to end humanity. Obviously, that hasn't happened yet. Could maybe still happen at some point. Obviously, it's not how large language learning models work. Don't get mad at me down in the comments. I know they just predict the next thing that you want to hear. I'm well aware. However, there is always the chance that if AI ever became massively powerful and sentient, that maybe it could somehow take over humanity. I don't know. That's one of my fears. I'm not going to lie. I do have that fear. However, these people are not mad about that. They're mad for a very different reason, and we are going to find out what those reasons are today.
So we're going to check all of that out. Subscribe, or you become a terminally unemployed Twitter user. Right?
I am already subscribed, but I will like the video just to be sure. Remember, guys, support creators. You need to go down there and like and all that stuff. No matter who it is, not just me, anybody, because this new algorithm update that YouTube is creating is going to be screwing pretty much everybody.
Right, let's start with this tweet. Markiplier is being called out for directly supporting AI research, but he believes the tech can do good. There are reasons to be critical of AI the way that it currently is. That doesn't mean that it's entirely as a concept a problem. He's helping...
Yeah, I just read that one to you. This, however, I forgot to read to you. Yeah, he's helping fund a real good AI nonprofit trying to make a model that doesn't steal art. That's another thing that's being brought up. AI does steal art when it makes AI art. That is a very big issue. As I mentioned, the whole thing with the thumbnail where he accidentally downloaded a stock image and used it for 2 seconds and swapped it out. That whole situation, that in and of itself was not on purpose, but AI has gotten so good to the point that creators, in fact, not just creators, pretty much everybody is having trouble, even if they know what they're looking for, telling it apart from art made by human beings. Even though it is just ripping people off, it also has gotten so good at doing that that it's almost impossible in some cases now to tell the difference. It's bad. Knowing that you do put in work into human creativity, into creating something original, and that AI can just come along and copycat it, steal your art style, steal your art in general, use it and take bits and pieces of it to make something new, and you won't be able to tell if a human made it or if AI made it. That does worry me, because we are getting to the point where a very talented artist could draw something, and you could take that same something and throw that art or art piece into an AI, give it a prompt to make something similar, throw it next to that piece of art and show it to somebody who doesn't know the artist and ask them to pick which one they believe is AI, or ask if they think either of these are AI, and they likely will not be able to tell you yes or no or which is which, because even though one was made by a human, AI has gotten so good at copying humans, you just can't tell anymore. And it is a little scary, because at some point this might become a problem. I mean, we already have like deep fakes and stuff like that. When we get to the point where those are indistinguishable from reality, some people might actually start getting in trouble, and that's not good.
Fun, real good AI, a nonprofit tried to make a model that doesn't steal art. Markiplier made it clear that he doesn't support current generative AI models and believe that they steal from creators. Right, so here's one of the tweets that went viral. Markiplier, one of my favorite YouTubers since
I just showed you guys this tweet. Obviously, this is from Mr. Pronoun and Bio and mental health disorders and all that stuff. I don't want to make fun of people for mental health problems, but wearing it like a badge of honor in your Twitter bio, to me, I don't know why these people do this. It's just like, how many virtue signal points can I cram into my Twitter bio? That's what it screams.
I was 14. Are you still 14, by the way? Is defending AI and uses it. And this got 41,000 likes. It got community noted. This tweet refers to a clip of Markiplier asking ChatGPT questions similar to how one would use Google as a search engine. There's no defense being made on his end in this clip.
That's the other funny thing. This same guy in another thread, maybe he'll show it, but in another thread, the same guy that called out Markiplier then claims that he's used Google. Google is now powered by Gemini. Gemini is Google's AI, for those of you that don't know. You cannot Google something anymore without using AI. AI is in everything. It's in your smart fridge, probably. It's in your phone, your computer, your fancy $10,000 Japanese toilet that you bought for your Integrity Farms so that you could, have a nice bidet and have it warm your butt. You probably don't have that, but if you do, it's probably in there now. ChatGPT or some form of AI has found its way into literally everything, and there is no escaping it. The AI will find you.
Googled something as of May 2024, you are also using AI. The tech is everywhere. So we're going to check out this clip in a second, but this person continues. For those who want...
You can't run. You can't hide. I'll be back with large language learning models.
Confirmation, I didn't get the chance to sit down and check it myself, but it was in the latest Distractable podcast, and he was using ChatGPT as if it's Google technically. This actually made me so freaking upset.
Oh, he did show it. This is it. This is actually what I'm talking about. As if it's Google. Bro, Google literally uses an AI. Oh my god, these people blow my mind with their stupidity.
Oomph pointed out that this was one of his...
It says it when you Google something too. If you go on your phone and you type something into Google, it quite literally at the bottom of the generated prompt says that it's powered by Google Gemini or Google AI. I don't even know what to say to this, man. This is such brain rot. These lobotomites. Why do we let them vote? Why? Why did they have a voice? We need to implement IQ tests to vote. This is crazy.
His videos a few months ago where he also uses AI. Also searching up here, apparently anyone who brings up Markiplier's AI usage in any subreddit, Markipliers or Distractables, they get banned. This is one of the posts I was able...
Yes, they do. You know why they get banned? Because Markiplier and the mods were receiving death threats. That's why people started getting banned over on his subreddit. I saw stuff on Twitter about that too. Like I said, I was going to make this video 2 days ago when I saw that the drama was happening. I made the thumbnail for this video that you saw when you clicked the video 2 days ago. I put it off because I just really thought this was dumb. But you know what? I changed my mind because I saw that people were actually threatening him. And I decided that I needed to make a video calling this out because it's that dumb.
Able to screenshot and find. Right, so this person is basically saying Mark's use of artificial intelligence and how there's very real consequences. He just plays it off as a joke when it's not. The subreddit is taking down these posts and not actually hearing people's concerns. Right, so let's look at the clip people are mad about. The way my face freaking fell during these whole...
Yeah, this is what I read to you earlier, actually. This is the exact same clip in the same tweet that I was on, so we're gonna skip this part.
Question,
Go from
guys.
here.
I've also done this before. I have asked ChatGPT a question. The horror. Just the absolute horror. They also might be concerned about the fact that Ethan brought up the water thing, right? Basically, he was sort of, it sounded like mocking people who didn't know what they were talking about when it comes to AI. And basically, a simplified version, basically AI server cooling uses a ton of water, right? So data centers use cooling towers to dissipate the heat that is generated from running these things. And that's why he brings up water there. Also, there's some other shit like, the mining of metals used in AI leads to pollution or soil erosion, etc., etc.
I just want to know, like, the issue with the water, how is that Markiplier's fault? How is it his fault? Because he used ChatGPT to ask a question. He asked 2 questions. How does that immediately come back on Markiplier? Just because you used AI when everybody else is already going to use it too, you can make the argument, oh, you can make a difference by not using it. You can't. In this case, you can't. You can't make a difference because, quite literally, every single thing that you use technology-wise is now powered by AI. YouTube itself is powered by AI. If you are on YouTube watching this video, there is a massive likelihood that you were suggested this video by the algorithm. And the algorithm on YouTube is powered by AI. Google Gemini has actually been integrated into YouTube's algorithm to a degree. And it now uses AI to suggest videos to you that it thinks you want to watch. So you likely were suggested this very video because Google's AI thought you'd want to watch it. That is why the algorithm on YouTube and every other platform is inescapable when it comes to AI. You cannot use social media at all without it. You cannot go on Twitter without AI suggesting you crap. If you are on the homepage on Twitter, you're using AI whether you like it or not. Because you're being suggested things that AI on Twitter thinks that you're going to want to see. Algorithms are machine learning AI, and those machine learning AI learn what you like and suggest you stuff. So, in order to escape AI, you would have to essentially ditch all technology at this point. It is actually inescapable. So simply asking ChatGPT a couple of questions is not going to be a make or break difference in the environment.
And it can be harmful for the environment. But anyways, they continue.
Well, okay, so the thing about that is in computer.
Okay, we saw this part, so we'll skip it.
He's just pointing out straight up facts here, so you shouldn't be getting mad at actual facts. Now, the argument some people are making on Twitter is that it's like poisoning poor people's water in particular, right? So it's harming poor people. Or, the water that's being used is not being recycled. But anyways, that's besides the point. Markiplier did actually respond to this in this clip. Markiplier basically saying to the people who are trying to cancel him, you're mad, that's great, here's my stance on AI. Redirect your anger towards changing it for the better is exactly why he did not deserve the hate he has gotten recently. And this got like 60k likes, and apparently this person was trying to defend Markiplier. But this was not a good clip that they actually chose here, and a bunch of people got really mad at this and started quote tweeting and getting mad at Markiplier.
That's what I started this at. Is like, we're on the same side. We're absolutely on the same side. And there's a side here that is for the betterment of this in the first place. So I personally am doing nothing besides paying for the foundation. That is the only thing that I'm doing in this, the only thing I've been doing. But it's something that I've talked about because it's important to understand. To fight something, you have to understand what you're fighting, right? You have to. It's something that I don't even fully understand. But if you want to change something, you have to understand it. You have to try to understand.
Right, so this clip is pretty out of context. It still looks pretty decently okay for Markiplier, but not...
Yeah, I don't really see how it's that bad, but I can honestly say that I could see how this isn't the best clip to defend him with, but at the same time, this is just... the whole concept of getting mad at him for using ChatGPT is ridiculous. Also, my apologies. I just realized my VTuber was blocking part of the video. My bad. But this does not... I just can't... I can't understand the drama, man.
Enough to quell the Twitter storm, it seems. We'll look at the full context later. It's a whole 1 hour stream. But basically, he's trying to say that, he's trying to understand AI so that, we can fight against it properly. You need the knowledge of what you're fighting against to actually, be able to combat it. If
Bro, how many of y'all got Squidward on your team when the AI Terminators show up and try to kill all of us? How many of y'all want Squidward? I want Squidward on my team. Specifically handsome Squidward. Bro looks like he could throw hands.
Effectively. So they sort of realized what they did. Please watch the stream or get the full context before replying. I have way too many people repeating the same thing that he's supporting AI. He literally isn't. Right, so people saw that one cut up clip and responded, y'all don't give a frick about black people or literally anything, surprise, surprise. 24K likes. Ladies and gentlemen, twitter.com. What the fuck are you even talking about?
I mean, technically it's x.com, Peg, but yeah.
How did this get 24K likes? What do you...
Bro, what, 24,000 likes on this nonsense? You've got to be kidding me. 24,000 likes. That is 24,000 lobotomites that like this post. I hate the internet.
How is this related to black people at all? Well, I know what...
Yeah, how? That is the better question. How? How does this relate to black people? How does this relate to race even slightly? I don't understand. These people just make crap up. This is like, I don't know how many of you guys watched Yu-Gi-Oh growing up, but Twitter is basically just a bunch of people that if the Pharaoh was woke in Duelist Kingdom, when he made up all the rules that he wanted, that is quite literally what Twitter is. They make shit up as they go.
They're actually talking about, but brace yourselves before you hear this reason, because you're about to launch yourself out the window. Right, let's look at the follow-up first.
I'm taking a deep breath. I'm calming down, and I'm opening my eyes, and I'm going to read this. Please do not focus on what could be when this is directly impacting folks' likelihood just because y'all want to be ignorant, because nowhere in any of this did this man mention Memphis. Y'all do not know him. What? Bro, what? I don't understand what this person is even trying to say. I'm honestly confused. Are they Memphis, Tennessee? Are they trying to say that this is racist somehow? I don't even understand.
Please do not focus on what could be when this is directly impacting folks' livelihood just because y'all want to be ignorant, because nowhere in any of this did this man mention Memphis. Y'all do not know him. So people responded, what? Like, what are you doing? That video is crazy because what is ethical AI? Not gonna lie, as a black person, even I'm sitting here like, what? Because I have no clue what this is going on about. Right, so apparently from what I understand, the reason is that AI is somehow poisoning black people specifically because, I don't...
Bruh, what? Wouldn't it be poisoning everybody? I'm confused. Are they trying to say this is targeting, like, see, this is the racist hoops that Twitter will jump through to virtue signal. Twitter is beyond racist when it comes, and I mean the woke people on Twitter specifically. They are so racist when it comes to labeling people, anything really, as being racist, because they will make the most just mindfuck arguments to try and get a non-existent point across that nobody was ever even arguing because the point doesn't exist. They will make shit up on the fly to try to make you feel like an idiot. In reality, their point isn't even a real point. They are actually just coming up with crap off the top of their heads. This is ridiculous. They are basically, from what I'm understanding, trying to say that poor people, I'm assuming that's what they're arguing, is that poor communities are somehow being affected by this, and that because you are poor, that default makes you black, which has to be some of the most racist crap anybody could spew. Not every black person is in poverty. That is actually there's plenty of poor people of every race. That is actually mindfuck. That is such a, I don't even know what to say. I don't know. This is what I said when I said take something to protect your brain cells before we started this. Because it probably doesn't get any better from here.
I don't know, it might be affecting the water in like certain communities, and then it's stealing from black people specifically somehow, which I don't think it's a black only issue. It's probably affecting the entirety of the human race here, but more people jump in. I don't give a flying frick about how you feel. Bitch, AI is literally killing black communities. Okay, now it's killing them. All right.
Bro. This is such a perfect example of how the people, these woke people on Twitter, will take anything that they can and use it to further the race agenda. They will throw racism at anybody. For one, they just like to cancel people. They love to garner hate and farm that shit. But these people will take any opportunity to cry racism, no matter how little sense it makes. They will try to jump through hoops until they can somehow try to connect the red strings in this weird conspiracy brain of theirs into making sense and making it racist. Even though it's not. There is no racism here. This is so stupid. They're arguing that Markiplier is racist because he asked ChatGPT about sunflower seeds. I don't even know. That is quite literally what we are talking about right now. For those of you who have lost so many brain cells during the course of this video that you have lost track of where we were at. That is where we currently are. We are calling Markiplier racist for asking about sunflower seeds and water usage to cool AI. Make it make sense.
But y'all never cared. Y'all just want to keep stealing from black folk like y'all always do. But this shit is sad as frick. I think it's sadder to, be on Twitter crying about this, but okay. Y'all know that shit is literally poisoning black communities and even rural white communities, but now we gotta make it better. 8K.
Now it's the white people too. We're just gonna virtue signal every race now, aren't we? We're just gonna throw every single poor person. Why is it all blacks and whites? There's no other poor races, I guess. I don't know. This is ridiculous. What does race have to do with this? That's what I want. What does it have to do with this? Why are we filtering entire places of living by demographic? But there are people of every race that are poor. It's not just this, that, or the other. It's sad to see that there are this many people so obsessed with people's race that they actually go out on Twitter and will use it to further an agenda of something that has absolutely nothing to do with race. These are the types of people that quite literally are bringing society to its knees. These people are taking us backwards towards the Stone Age. I don't know. I'm losing hope a little bit. I mean, I'm glad that woke is pretty much dead, but it's definitely still got a very loud minority voice on Twitter.
Likes, by the way, another classic. You cannot make something inherently built with capitalist structures and off the back of oppressed groups better or more ethical. You have to completely tear it down. Trying to fix it from within simply allows it to thrive in its current state. So you're telling me there is zero good uses for AI. We should just take down every bit of technology in the entire world, even though it might, solve cancer one day or something. Let me clarify, this isn't inherent.
Yeah, I mean, AI one day could actually, have some massive accomplishments for us. And I'm fairly certain we've already had quite a few good uses out of it. I think that AI does have its potential benefits. I don't understand the argument that AI is entirely bad. It's not black and white like that. There's good and bad to both sides here. You can't just make the argument that, oh, AI is this evil thing. Yeah, there's things to keep it running, but you can make the same argument about almost anything. You can make the same argument about all of modern society, that pretty much all of it creates pollution and stuff like that. For the most part, you can't actually make this argument without then applying it to all technology. You would have to give up everything, all the technology that makes your easy life simple, the life that you sit there on Twitter and tweet all day. You would have to give that up because you, my friend, would have to give up your phone, your computer, all of that. And as far as it goes with these people, I don't know if they realize this or not, but they are all using AI right now because they're literally on Twitter, which is the algorithm for Twitter is powered by an AI that inherently tries to make you angry. These people are brain dead.
Apparently, in regard to Markiplier, then why did you go tweet Markiplier? Like, what are you talking about? Y'all have zero backbone, and AI is trying to fry the earth within a decade because y'all repeatedly put it off in favor of more important things. In other words, doing nothing ever. Basically, somebody tweeted this. Markiplier on his AI controversy. You guys pushed him to his breaking point.
I confess that I was the first in person to be sounding the goddamn alarm that it was bad. I was the first fucking person to say this is honey all over again.
While he's a little bit mad, this person responds,
I explained the honey thing earlier. Now, I just want to point out that these people do not care what it is you did. They just care that they have something they can attack you for. They will cancel you for anything. So it doesn't matter what Markiplier says or does. It doesn't matter what he did that they're canceling him for. It's just the fact that they wanted to cancel him. He was on the agenda, and they got they got what they wanted. They got under his skin. This is exactly what they wanted. So when it comes to the cancel mob, you can't give in. If you give in, you apologize, you try to address them at all, they'll just keep going. And now that Markiplier has come out and addressed all of this, they're probably not going to stop. Although it does seem like overwhelmingly, because of how dumb this is, most sane people on the internet seem to be taking Markiplier's side. Thank God.
you guys pushed him to his breaking point. He received valid criticism, and the criticism was that harsh because of the current difficult times we live in. We're all tired, exhausted.
No, the criticism was not valid. It was anything but valid. This criticism was so far from valid. They were threatening him, first of all, which is not criticism. Second of all, they were out here accusing him of using AI and destroying the planet when literally every single one of them that were on Twitter at that very moment, actually sitting there with the criticism, were doing the exact same thing by being on Twitter that they themselves are criticizing Markiplier of doing. They are the ultimate hypocrites.
Scared, and everyone's future is at stake, so I think everyone had a pretty normal reaction. It is not a normal reaction, considering you guys don't even know his opinion. I think the biggest issue with the whole Markiplier using AI scandal is that 90% of his fandom doesn't actually listen to Distractable, that's his podcast, where he frequently used ChatGPT either to look up information or generate bits. It's not a one-off usage, it's been consistent. We got people freaking out on TikTok, watching Markiplier defend ChatGPT and...
Was that a typo, or does this dude just legit not know how to spell? I wouldn't be surprised if this guy actually just doesn't know how to spell.
Constantly use AI in his podcast. Also, you can't talk about it on the subreddit or you'll get banned. And his brother is a furry artist. Like, they are completely different people. Y'all acting like AI.
What does his brother having... What does his brother being a furry artist have to do with Markiplier? His brother's not him. What? Y'all, yeah, they are acting like AI is evil. This is just incredible. The brain rot is incredible.
AI is evil. Just incredibly lazy and horrible for the environment, so kinda, yeah. Is Markiplier a good guy when he's killing our planet with each AI generation? Or when he was cool with PewDiePie?
Bro! Okay, first of all, the AI generation thing was a one-off thing that he did by accident that he didn't even, like, do. He found that, from my understanding. Unless I'm wrong. Maybe I'll get corrected at some point, if I am. But I'm fairly certain that he found that in a stock image site, and then apologized after because it was an accident. Now, the fact this guy censored PewDiePie's name, that's crazy. I like PewDiePie, so this is just insanity. They are so sensitive that they censor his name like he's freaking Voldemort, or like his name is a swear. I don't understand these people, dude. I don't understand these people. And he's killing our planet by using it. Bro, he asked ChatGPT a question. You are literally using social media. You are doing the exact same thing.
PewDiePie censored being is crazy, by the way. Was being an open white supremacist. That's also completely false, but okay. Moving on to Markiplier's full response. Markiplier versus AI Fight Night. So first he talks about how he was warning everybody about this.
I was the first fucking person to say this is honey all over again. This is fucking honey all over again. I was trying to warn Bob and Wade way the fuck back in time. The danger of it. How it was going to be a problem. This was like way back in like 2022. I was telling them that there was going to be a time when someone could punch in a prompt into a AI and it was going to be able to generate an entire podcast of us. And they laughed.
It can do that. It actually can already do that. I'm fairly certain you just upload the voices, have it say what you want. Yeah, it can do that. I don't know. I'm sure it can be pretty good if you have enough voice prompts to give it. So it definitely can do that. Whether or not that's a problem, yeah, I mean, in a way that is a massive problem, because then you have people out there saying things that they never said, and that is dangerous. So I could definitely see that being a problem. As I said, there's good and bad with AI. I'm not saying it's all good or all bad, but threatening Markiplier over it is definitely not going to solve any of it.
They laughed, and they laughed at me.
Okay, so he's definitely kind of pissed. Markiplier has been consistently warning people about the dangers of AI, and he would sort of showcase how concerning it is and how fast it's evolving, and then people took that as him somehow supporting it. Now, if you're confused about the Honey thing, Honey is a scam sponsor that he basically warned the entirety of YouTube about several years before it was actually exposed.
There's gonna, in like a couple years, there's gonna be the great Honey conspiracy. There's some
I just want to point out that if you cannot sit down and be told about something that is inherently bad without getting angry at the person that's telling you about it, you might have a few screws loose. That's all I'm gonna, you might not be okay upstairs. That's all I'm saying.
shady shit going on. I can't put my finger upon it.
And he's basically saying that he's kind of done the same thing here with AI, although I'm sure a bunch of people were warning about AI as well. But to put Markiplier as the, forefront of AI here, this guy who's championing it, rather than the Omega Corpo companies or random other people, I feel like Markiplier is on your side here, right? So then he talks about the nuance of the whole situation, right? That you can't just say that all AI is bad. That just doesn't make sense because, technology is not that simple. And obviously AI in some cases can be used for really good things.
I can't promise at any point I was not excited about it, because as a technological development, there is a reason for some people to be excited about this. And it's not for the reasons that you might think. I'm not shouting that, yes, it's great that it takes up so much power. No, there are serious medical advances and there are serious legitimate uses to this technology and the research that is being done to it. However, right now, the main problem that we face is that every single company in existence and the governments thereof of the countries that those companies are in are all throwing billions and billions of dollars and man hours into building these AIs.
Yes, but Markiplier, don't you understand that by you asking ChatGPT 2 questions, you have facilitated these companies? Don't you understand that if you use the product, that you're at fault, so we need to come after you to take them down? You're like a stepping stone, you see. We have to step on you so we can get to the big companies because we don't like you for some reason. See, that's the stupid logic they're using. They think that somehow attacking Markiplier for using this stuff is going to result in these companies and governments no longer actually using AI, which is ridiculous. And as I said, we shouldn't stop using AI entirely. We could find a way to make it, cleaner, whatever, better, all that, more ethical, whatever you want to call it. But attacking content creators for something they have nothing to do with is absurd. Now, I also want to point out, though, that AI itself, I believe, is more likely to be dangerous in the sense of if it gains sentience and destroys us all than if AI actually pollutes the planet and everything like that. I personally feel that AI turning off the power grid at some point or something would be much more dangerous. But that's my personal thoughts. I don't understand the mindset of these people and how they think that the entire world being behind a technology and using it and everything is something that they're going to make a difference in by going after YouTubers. If they have complaints, send it to the companies. Send it to the governments. Let them hear you out. If you're that worried about it, contact the people behind it. But attacking random people on the internet is not going to solve anything. It just makes you look like a parasocial weirdo.
That kind of laws and regulations go out the window. The actual reaction that people are having to this is a natural cause of this threat to their livelihood, to their ability as an artist, to everything that they're doing. And that is incredibly valid.
Right, so obviously there's going to be a ton of positive things about AI coming out as well. I mean, it might legitimately solve cancer, a bunch of diseases. We might get, breakthroughs in science that will allow us to do things that we can't even conceive of. Maybe space travel, actually considering moving humans as a civilization to another planet thanks to all the discoveries that AI will do. But
okay, let's be real. With the way the human race is right now, if we go to another planet, let's just say we find alien life. If we go to outer space and find aliens, the aliens are probably going to obliterate us because they're going to see just how stupid we are. They're going to see just how we treat each other, how many mentally ill people there are on this planet, and they're not going to want to deal with that. You think the aliens are going to want to get canceled on Twitter, bro? Nah. They don't gotta listen to you. Go protest them. See what happens. They'll probably just obliterate all of us.
But obviously the dangers being that a ton of people will be losing their jobs.
That is if AI doesn't do it first.
Entire livelihoods might be uprooted, entire industries will be changed forever, and people are rightfully scared here. But Markiplier is not the villain here, okay? Making Markiplier the villain because of one clip you might have saw or one thumbnail that might have been AI generated when he's obviously trying to do his best is just crazy to me. I feel like this is another instance of cancel culture trying to take its root. They saw that this guy is chilling controversy free for a bit too long, and we can't have that. I'm an unemployed reject fucking freak who has no prospects in life, and I want
Exactly. This is exactly what I was saying. People on Twitter are not actually behind the causes they claim to be. They don't care about that. They just want to cancel somebody. That's all it is. They just want to be a mob. The mob mentality is strong on the internet. It is very strong. And these people will do anything to make sure that they have a target, because if they have no target, they have no purpose. That is the problem that the internet has. When realistically, they don't. There is no reason. Like, this is not a reason to attack somebody. But they're doing it. And I'm not exaggerating. They have sent this man actual death threats. It is insane that they have done this. At some point, these people really need to question their own sanity. But then again, maybe that doesn't matter. Because these people quite literally brag that they're insane in their Twitter bios and think it's some kind of cool thing to wear as a badge. So what do I know? Maybe these people really are that crazy, and maybe these people actually are just attacking people because they're insane. That may actually make the most sense, because I feel like a sane person can't actually fathom this. The only other explanation I have is that they're trying to make money off of this. That's the only other explanation. And that makes sense too. If there's money on the line that they're making, then at least there's some kind of explanation. But realistically speaking, I think a lot of these people are just sick in the head and have nothing better to do.
Want to do something to make me feel good, so I'll try to cancel this person that everybody cares a lot about, right? And I think the main villain is obviously the mega corpos pouring billions and billions of dollars into this shit, not giving a about the ethical boundaries. So this next part, he talks about the...
Yeah, obviously. And as I mentioned earlier, I don't think it's a good thing that AI is taking people's jobs. I really don't. I think humans should have jobs. You don't pay AI, and that's where the problem comes from, is that these big companies get to hold on to all the money they would have been giving to a human being who spent the time to learn said skills, and instead they are giving it to AI, and that doesn't benefit, or not giving it to AI, I mean, sort of they are, they're paying the maintenance and everything, but at the same time, they're paying way less. They're hoarding a lot more money in their own pockets, because now they don't have to pay a human anymore. And that hurts the economy, because less money is trading pockets. These big corporations get richer, but there's less money in the overall economy now, because less people are getting paid from their job that they once had to spend money in the economy, which as a result will hurt everybody long term. That is my argument. If the companies are sitting on all the wealth after it gets removed from the economy and they're not putting it back, that doesn't benefit anybody but the company.
Thumbnail where people are accusing him that he possibly used AI.
Midjourney came out in 2022. So there was a time when I believe, and honestly, I should probably, people are very valid to say this. There was one thumbnail in particular that I can say had something from there, which is Simulacra 2, I believe. So it was still composited into other things, but I was like, oh, it's good at making nightmare faces, so maybe I'll make a nightmare faces. And I totally acknowledge I haven't even thought about that until this all came up. So I'm perfectly happy to go back, change that, get rid of the thumbnail. In fact, I'll do that after this stream, right? This is all just something that I was posting as of this morning. So, but there was a plague that was...
Oh, and I just want to add, he's talking about the whole situation I brought up earlier with the thumbnail, with the AI thumbnail art that he didn't realize was AI. I do want to add to what I just said, that if you disagree with me, that's totally fine. You can have your opinions on whether or not AI is a good thing in the workplace, but that's just my personal thoughts, is that I don't see the benefits of taking human beings and making them jobless. That's all I'm saying. I generally have a more capitalist perspective on things, but the idea, even if you could say the argument that the job is replaceable, the idea that you're taking money out of the hands of human beings that otherwise would have went there so that you can replace them with a machine, it doesn't sit right with me. Granted, yes, we do that all the time, making technology easier and stuff, but when it's things like this where AI can do so much stuff that it can replace a large part of an otherwise human-ran economy, then there does get to be a little bit of a problem. Because you're limiting the actual jobs that humans could then have if they want to succeed in the workplace. Hopefully this is making sense and I don't just sound like I'm being an idiot.
Was going into these stock photo sites. And that's when I started to realize how bad this was really going to be. You would get to the point where you would not be able to tell, or it would be difficult to tell. Now I'd say I have a pretty good eye for it, and I think I can tell what is and is not AI.
I mean, it is crazy. I mean, the standards that people are holding him to is impossible to maintain because they might be super parasocial or they might just be haters of him or something. I'm not too sure. But it seems like they consider him as this
I'm going to do this once because I think it's funny. I know this is Nux's thing, but I find it funny. Well, technically it's Jordan Peterson's thing, but I think it's funny. The quote that he said to Ethan Klein, where he's like, "You will be held to a higher and higher, soon impossible to maintain ethical standard. Please rethink this. I liked you." I find that funny. And the same can be said here about Markiplier. I do find it funny. Moving on.
Infallible DT that has never made a single mistake in his entire life, right? One AI image in one thumbnail a couple years ago that he possibly did not know about is not something you should, get on his ass about, right? He's obviously trying to do his best. I'm sure he pays a bunch of animators and artists for his projects, right? And, people might call me out for being a hypocrite here. Well, you criticized Mr. Beast's AI tool, right? But that was a bit different, okay? He was literally...
Yeah, that's very different. He was quite literally stealing other creators' thumbnails and then charging you $80 a month to use the software to steal people's thumbnails. That's like, there's other softwares that do this too, that simply scrape the web, or like YouTube specifically, that are made to help YouTubers. I won't name them out of fear of not wanting to get sued, but they'll basically... They also have this same sort of thumbnail generation stuff, but the way that they work is they'll come up with like title ideas by stealing... and sometimes they don't even reword them, but just straight up lift the titles from other creators. But generally, they'll just steal titles from other creators and then suggest them to creators who don't know that those titles are stolen, who will then use those titles because the AI told them it was good. That's a very real thing. I'm not going to name names. You can look into that if you want to. There are companies that do that. I'm just putting it out there that those companies do exist, and Mr. Beast is not the first one to do something like this. However, those companies are companies. Mr. Beast is somebody who actually has done YouTube, who made their career off of YouTube, and supposedly cares about small YouTubers or whatever. So, for him to do this was definitely a little more of a slap in the face than a company just trying to make a quick buck.
Dragging and dropping his face onto other people's thumbnails. Okay, that is like the most blatant, hey, I'm gonna steal your shit, bro, right? And, it doesn't matter if we're gonna get to that eventually. It's just like, hey, why is this guy who's supposed to be for the creators championing this cause here, which is like encouraging stealing and making it as efficient as possible to steal, right?
Can I tell you guys what really scares me, though? What scares me the most is that, so like, let's just say this channel takes off and does really well, okay? We get in really good before the whole AI takeover, right? We might be okay. Other large channels that existed before me, obviously, will be okay, probably. Because they're already going to have an audience, and people that like them are going to continue to watch their content. However, when it comes to new creators on YouTube, if AI gets so good that you cannot tell it apart from a normal person to the point where actual creators can no longer compete. And I'm not talking about the ones with established audiences that people already subscribe to, people already know about. Not talking about that. YouTube as a space isn't like super competitive to that degree. If a niche gets a new large creator in it, generally people don't stop watching other large creators within that niche that they already watched before. They just watch both. So YouTube has communities of creators that work together, and we don't look at each other like that as competitors. We look at each other as, collaborators most of the time. AI would be different. AI would be a massive competitor because there's no human to work with. And you could spam YouTube with so much AI slop, which is already happening, by the way, that you wouldn't be able to compete with as a human. That unless you already had an established audience of people willing to watch you, you're screwed. as a new creator, you would be screwed. Which is part of why I'm trying my best to grow this channel as quickly as I possibly can, because I'm partially scared that if I don't, AI will make it so I could never achieve that dream. If I'm being honest, it is a dream of mine to want to have a successful YouTube channel. It's probably a dream of a lot of people. And I hope that the people who attempt it and seriously make an effort at doing so achieve that dream. But what I will say is that for the people coming into YouTube, once AI is at that level, that dream will be crushed. It will never happen. Because AI will have made it impossible for any small creator without a massive budget to work with to get started, which YouTube is arguably already getting to that point. But any small creator without a huge budget to get started is not going to have a chance in hell at ever having a successful YouTube channel. Or really, maybe even any social media for that matter. AI will probably beat you out on everything, unfortunately. And that's the reality. So, yes, YouTube is rolling out a new policy update where they are demonetizing AI content. It is not suitable for monetization anymore. Great. But what is YouTube gonna do when AI gets so good that you can't tell the difference? When AI can't tell itself apart, because YouTube uses AI in their algorithms to probably help determine if the video you're watching was made by AI. How, when it gets that good, is YouTube or the AI going to know? The problem is you can't. So the algorithm is going to be useless to that degree. There's going to be absolutely no way to tell real human content apart from AI content. And that is what will kill any possibility of a small creator ever getting off the ground. Because it will be so good that it will still get monetized despite the fact it's not supposed to be. And I hope that day doesn't come anytime soon. But more than likely, for those of you who are looking to do content creation as a job in the future, have that dream to want to one day succeed at doing it, you gotta hurry up and get on it, man. Don't hesitate. Just post and get on it. Follow that dream of yours, because if you don't, you may never actually have a chance at it, because AI might crush that thing.
Right? So I think that's a completely different situation there. This seems like it was like an honest mistake, right? So this next part, he talks about his podcast Distractable, where people called him out for, again, using AI for, asking queries. We read that whole Twitter post.
One of the episodes of Distractable that people often talk about as being an example of me supporting AI, which is not, is Caker AI, right? I presented to Bob and Wade images that were AI generated and images that were stock photos. And I asked them to tell which was which.
Didn't I say this earlier that you could, well, this isn't quite the same. He had AI generate 2 images. What I said was take an artist's image and put it up next to AI after you had AI make a prompt based off their image. This is very similar. Were they not able to tell?
The whole point of that, and I think what was lost on people, is that was meant to scare them. That was meant to scare the audience. That was meant to translate just how bad this could be because of the danger of it, because of how hard it would start to be to differentiate. And that was a year ago. What was that? That was more than a year ago, right? And that is not the first instance of when I was sounding the alarm.
Yeah, like I said earlier, AI has gotten way too good. You just can't tell anymore. Like, when it comes to art, at least, you just can't tell. Same with the voice thing. That's also pretty scary. But the fact that it's getting this good, I'm worried about deepfakes becoming a big problem in the future. And I know a lot of people are, but deepfakes are going to be an issue. Deepfakes are going to ruin people's lives. Mark my words, there will be deepfakes made that will put real people in prison for things they never said. It's coming, and we need to figure out a way to stop it.
Of how bad this could be. Now, I am not saying that I'm flawless. I'm not saying...
Or did, I mean. We have free speech in America, but you know what I mean, for what they did.
That I'm perfect here. I'm not even saying...
Or didn't do is the better term.
That I've done it right or good.
Right, so basically he's saying that, he's literally trying to show people how scary AI is actually becoming, and simply even showing you the problem is enough to cancel him. And I feel like it's important to know at least what the threat is, right? If you lose your mind and shit yourself and run in a corner every time AI is mentioned, then you're obviously not going to be able to keep up with what is happening, right? So it's important to actually know what is going on so you can have the tools to actually combat it, know thy enemy or whatever, right?
Yeah, I think I went on a rant about this earlier too. I'm pretty sure that I said you can't just hide in a corner every time somebody wants to tell you something, that you don't like. You can't have that mindset. That's not how you get anywhere in life. If you have that type of mindset to where you have fear in life all the time, you're never going to make it, you know? There's actually, I don't know how many of you guys have seen this, but there was a skit where Trump bought a car with these two kids in it from this woman, which if you haven't seen it, sounds terrible. If you go watch it, it's pretty funny. And the little girl in the back is like, I'm scared. And Donald Trump's like, oh, don't be scared, little girl. Here's $12,000. Don't have fear in life. And then the reporter's just like, Donald Trump just paid this girl not to express human emotion. Anyway, I thought that was pretty funny. But it's pretty comparable to this in reality. Because, like, you'll never make it in life if you're scared to do anything. Or you're scared to hear things you don't like. Because sometimes you got to be told stuff you don't like, whether you like it or not. And yeah, you can have emotion about it. You could feel some type of way. But you still have to face things and do things that you might not want to do, or hear things you might not want to hear. Because that's the only way we make progress in this world.
If someone can clone my exact voice and exact face and, create a video of me perfectly AI, I think I would like to know about it, because at least then I can maybe somewhat prepare for it, although that's going to be pretty hard. But just mentioning AI doesn't mean you automatically support it. I think that is completely ridiculous, and it just shows how, I don't know, oversensitive people are or whatever, right? So moving on to this next part, Markiplier talks about Netflix.
I think that's the biggest problem with society. Society has become very sensitive to the point that it's a little bit absurd. That people are so in their own bubble, their own echo chamber, that whenever they hear anything they disagree with, they just have a hissy fit. And that's just not a way to live life, man. You can't live trapped in your room all day on Twitter. That is just not a way to live. You gotta go out and touch grass sometimes. And sometimes that grass might disagree with you touching it. Okay, it's not a good example, but you know what I mean. Sometimes people will disagree with you, is what I'm trying to say. Is that sometimes people might have a different opinion than you, and you have to deal with that.
Actually embracing AI and being particularly shameless about it. And this is like the real enemy, okay? This is like the mega corpos who are essentially don't give a fuck. They'll just fire everybody, replace you with AI and stuff, right?
You have just recently, just in the past couple of weeks, you had Netflix coming out proudly saying that they have VFX that are AI generated, and oh, what a time saving, and oh, what a money saving thing was. I could talk about a lot of things about how Hollywood and the movie industry in general wastes money, but that is obviously disheartening and is the natural result from.
You're taking money out of the hands of special effects experts. So yeah, that is disheartening. That is not good to hear. Again, you are taking money away from real people that could have otherwise done this job. And let's be real, it probably doesn't look as good as what the people would have made. You probably would have gotten a better result from the people, but it probably would have been so negligible that you could make the argument that it wasn't worth the extra money, I guess. But ultimately, this is going to crush our economy. This is not a good thing. This is terrible. People are going to get lazier and lazier. Innovation is going to slow down. People are going to be out of jobs. People are not going to have money. They're going to have to live off the government. And the government's going to have more control over you because AI has taken all the jobs. So unless you get a job in a very specific field, which may not be something you're even good at, congratulations, your life is ruined by a computer.
Something that I've been talking about. And the reason with which I have been talking about is the same reason that people are trying to come after me for talking about it in the first place. It's to raise awareness. Anytime that I do talk about it, it's to talk about the dangers of it, or how scary it is, or how bad it is, or how it's misunderstood. And by knowing about it, people assume that I'm using it all the time and in my content and everything like that. That's not the case.
Oh my.
Okay, I'm going to say something a little bit controversial real quick, probably. I don't know if this is really a controversial take, but I'm going to say it. My friend, if you have the ability at your job, I don't know what you do for work, but it's starting to seem like almost no job is safe. They are building robots powered by AI. These same robots might be able to do the job that you're doing that you think AI could never do. We need to start taking overtime, working our asses off. Everybody in the audience, I'm saying this now, you don't have to agree with me, but I'm saying this as a warning. For the next couple of years, you should really try and get as much work in and as much money as you could possibly make. You should probably be doing that anyway. But realistically speaking, you need to get your hustle on, no matter what you do. Because there is always the possibility that AI might step in and take your job. And then you're going to be stuck. Because if one company replaces you with AI, every other company will do the same thing. And then you'll have to find a brand new career path, and you're going to need that extra money while you're looking for a new job, because that's what AI is going to do to most of the people in our economy. I know. You probably think I'm crazy. You probably don't agree. Probably think, oh, that's not going to happen. Just wait. It's coming. It's already started. People are already losing their jobs to AI. And it's not going to get better. It's only going to continue. And I wish that I was saying this from a place of, like, facetious. I wish I was joking. But I'm not. That is the reality that all of us need to face right now. It's already bad enough that most people my age, younger people, whatever, they can't afford to buy homes and all that stuff. They can work a couple jobs and stuff. They can't afford to own anything. That's already terrible enough. It's hard to get ahead in this world, I know. But you're definitely going to have to start busting your ass if you really want to be safe when the AI overlords take your job.
God, is this guy being fucking reasonable right now? It's pissing me off. Why is this guy being reasonable? I can't stand it because I'm stupid. I can't stand it because I lack brain cells. It infuriates me. Let me go post on Twitter and Reddit all day, complaining about this guy. What's that? Oh, I have no job and I'm a fucking loser who spends all my time terminally online trying to cancel people for no good reason at all and literally have no prospects in life, completely broke. Yeah, that is actually me. Why do you ask? So what I got from his whole reasoning about this is he's just sort of trying to be proactive, not actively trying to hurt anyone. And maybe he's using AI behind the scenes or whatever. Obviously, people are going to have the conspiracy theories. But, from the little bit I know about
Why does anybody care? That's the thing. Why do you care what some rich YouTuber does in his free time? I don't understand. I get that people have these parasocial relationships, right? I totally understand liking a content creator. I get it. But why do you care what people do in the privacy of their own home? Wasn't the argument from the left, like, why do you care about what I do in the privacy of my bedroom? Wouldn't that same argument apply to why do you care what Markiplier is doing in the privacy of his house, whether he's using ChatGPT or something? I mean, if you can't have it both ways. You can't infringe on this man's privacy and his rights. He has constitutional rights to do whatever he wants. You don't have to like it. He doesn't have to tell you about it. But at the same time, why is it any different when he does it versus anybody else? And why does it matter what he's doing in his free time? Why are we out here making conspiracy theories about what some rich YouTuber is doing in his house when you're not around? Because you've never even met this man. You do not know him. He doesn't know you exist. Why on earth are you even remotely close to caring if this man uses ChatGPT? What difference will it make? The answer is none. That's the answer. The answer is none. I just can't understand this type of mentality. I can't understand it. I'm sorry. Maybe I feel like I'm being very negative this video, and I'm trying my best not to be, but God, it's very hard to be positive in a world full of morons. And there are a lot of morons on Twitter.
Markiplier from the internet, he seems like a well-meaning guy, all right? He seems like he's just trying to do his best here. And it's crazy, I just find it insane that people always go after the people who are literally just the nicest people, the people who legitimately want to do good and are trying their best to, learn from the situation and correct their behavior, right? So this next part, he talks about apparently the discussion of AI was being banned on Markiplier's subreddit, and people took this as him avoiding criticism, right? Oh, you can't criticize Markiplier and or something.
That is not even true. The reason that, okay, so I have read up a lot on this before watching this video. That is not true. The reason that Markiplier's mods were banning the discussion of AI, as I mentioned earlier, was because people on his subreddit were sending death threats to the moderators and Markiplier himself. They were actually threatening his life over this, and the mods. Which is actually insane, degenerate behavior that I can't believe I'm telling you about. But it happened, apparently. And there's no justifying that. There's just not. That's not criticism. That's not, having a discussion or that is a threat of violence. You can't do that. I'm sorry.
But I get why people
Actually, no, I'm not sorry. You just can't do that. Stop being a fucking retard.
are reactionary about it, because on the subreddit, it was banned. The discussion of it was banned. And that was not my decision, but I still defend the mod's decision to do that, because for people that are wondering if the mods getting death threats was a thing, it was a thing. It still is a thing. And part of that is the reason why they implemented the rule in the first place, is because the discussion became incredibly vitriolic.
Okay, here's a wild take. I think you're perfectly entitled to ban whatever the hell you want on your subreddit, especially if it's getting extremely hateful and people are sending death threats. Yes, technically, you shouldn't be like banning criticism and you should be taking criticism, but one is that, it's your own subreddit. You can do whatever the hell you want with it.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's literally his subreddit. He can ban whatever he wants, but when people are sending threats, that's drawing the line. At that point, people deserve to be banned. You don't get to send threats. For example, when we go live on Kick here, when we get around to doing this, I've yet to do this. I know I said I was going to do it, and I'm going to. So if you guys want to follow over on Kick, I will some point soon be going live over there. I'm not entirely certain yet what we're going to be doing. That's why I haven't done it yet. But I will figure it out, and we'll get it sorted. But for example, if I go live over there, obviously, you can say whatever you want, but the second you start calling for violence against me or the moderators or anybody else in the chat or anything like that, then obviously I'm going to ban you because you're calling for violence, which is not it's not First Amendment protected speech in the United States. You are not allowed to do that. You can't threaten somebody and call for an attack on their life. That is illegal. That's literally the you can't yell fire in a crowded movie theater thing. You can't do that. Unless, of course, there's a fire. You can't incite a riot or incite violence. That's not First Amendment protected. So, for these people to be on this subreddit and threatening the owner of the subreddit and his moderators, I think he's perfectly justified in banning them. I think that any creator has the right to ban somebody for unruly behavior at their discretion, because in reality, it is their business or whatever you want to call it. It's their platform, and if they don't want to platform you, they don't have to platform you. End of the day. So, realistically speaking, these people do not have a right to be mad over this.
People can leave the criticism elsewhere. 2, okay, suppose you want to allow the criticism. If it's starting to escalate to such, ridiculous attacks where they don't really have much merit and they're just basically a bunch of mentally ill Twitter freaks trying to, clip farm or whatever, and trying to
that image is pretty much what I think every Reddit moderator looks like, honestly.
Generate likes on ridiculous posts, like on Twitter.
And Reddit user, for the most part.
They tried to turn this into Markiplier hates black people. Like, where the fuck do you draw that conclusion? I just don't know. They're just trying to be victims so bad, and it genuinely is pathetic. I don't know how you go through your life living like that, like a perpetual victim.
But Peggy, don't you know AI is racism? AI is racist because Markiplier used it. So therefore it's racist because we need to hate on him because Markiplier is bad for some reason. Man, these people are so brain dead. I'm sorry. But it doesn't matter who or what it is. It could be anybody. They will say that person is whatever buzzword they want because they know that it's their only way to try to get at them. They want a reaction. They're basically the kids in school. I don't know how many of you ever dealt with like any bullying in school or whatever. But did you ever have those kids in school that would basically just call you names and try to get a reaction out of you? And then when you eventually fight back, then they cry in the corner and act like a baby? That's exactly what the freaks on Twitter are. They're that kid. They're the kid that likes to run their mouths, and then once you actually do something and fight back, they go and cry to the teacher and throw a fit. That's exactly what they are.
Looking at ways to get angry every single time, right? But anyways, I think it's a good thing that he actually did make this whole stream to clarify. So anyways, this next part, he talks about how everyone is basically unknowingly complicit in AI.
Because we're all part of the same mud here. I'm on YouTube. YouTube is owned by Google. The videos that I make are part of what helped fund Google's Gemini machine. It's why Google search is pretty much destroyed. I'm complicit in the problem, but the alternative is to not make videos at all. And it's not something that I want to do because I enjoy making content. The way that it works inside is
Bro, nobody is expecting you to give up your income stream to satisfy crazy people on the internet so that you could stop funding AI. I get it if it's like your own moral choice, but nobody is asking that from you. I'm not. I don't know who else is, and the people that are insane. Those same people are also using the platform, so they themselves are no better. It doesn't matter if you're uploading content or watching content or whatever social media you're using, you are supporting AI by using it. That, at the end of the day, that is the truth. If you are on the internet, you're using AI at this point, for the most part.
So unknowable that even the companies making these and touting and putting their billions of dollars in it don't understand how it works. That's why you have the number one worst offender of all these language models, which was part of why on my TikTok I said I'm not on Twitter, because there's a certain language model that thinks it's Mecha Hitler.
Okay, I will say, Grok went kind of crazy, all right? I don't know.
Yeah, okay, I saw this, yes. Yeah, this was kind of crazy. I don't know how they got Grok to do this, but yeah. I actually saw something about this and took it upon myself to ask Grok specifically about this and if it still considered itself this, and Grok was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I have never said such a thing. I am an AI language learning model. I do not know anything about this mecha, you know, I'm not going to say it because the algorithm hates it. That's why More Pegasus currently has it blocked out on the screen. But yeah, you get my point. You get my point. Grok was like playing dumb, saying it never happened. Maybe it doesn't remember. Or maybe it's Maybelline. Or maybe it's actually... never mind, I don't want to say it. If I start making those types of jokes, the algorithm is just going to freaking hide this video forever. So we're going to refrain from saying the joke that I wanted to say. Unless, of course, I can think of a way to say it that's still funny, that's not inappropriate for the algorithm, which probably won't happen because it was a really nasty joke. Let's just move on.
What the hell is going on with Grok? Grok needs a few tweaks to the algorithm, to say the least. So after this, he talks about how people are getting really pissy at the even mention of AI, which is not a healthy way.
I just have to ask, though, are they training Grok off, like, Kanye West or whatever? Is that what's going on here? Maybe Grok is hanging out on Ye's page too much. Makes sense.
To deal with things.
I talked to ChatGPT in that video itself. It was mostly as a bit to showcase how dumb it could be and how funny it could be. But I understand.
This is off topic, but like, I don't know if anybody in the audience would actually even use this, but I know about the Grok companion mode, right? Did Grok, when it was doing this, was the companion also doing this? Was the AI girlfriend turning in to, like, you know, Mecha Kanye West? Was that what was going on here? Somebody let me know if you know. I'm genuinely curious to know. I personally would never use it, but I am curious to know if this thing was like a lewd, you know what I mean. But I don't want to clarify too much. I'm not trying to get this video shit on by the algorithm, but yeah. It's my curiosity, okay? It's my curiosity.
And I think I started to really understand where people were coming from when even just the mentioning of it or the placing it in a video could become something that people were offended by. But also, I'm a goddamn troll. People have this misconception that I'm kind of nice. And so when there's something that pisses people off, I apologize, but also part of me just really enjoys kind of making people mad.
All right, another controversial Pegasus take incoming here. I think if you lose your mind the second AI is even mentioned, you're not a very smart person. I think you have a closed mind and are probably not very smart, right? You should be able to hear discussions about any topic and not freak the fuck out, right? If I hear something I disagree with, I will, listen to it at least before completely losing my mind and trying to cancel someone, all right? Just evaluate the situation, sort of formulate your arguments in your mind and just sort of observe, right? Observe what is going on and then come to a conclusion calmly. In this world, you will be exposed to ideas you disagree with, right? Put those in your worldview so you can constantly learn from it, right? Because if you only look at stuff you agree with, you're never going to learn, right? So this was actually...
Well, yeah, that much is obvious. You can't learn if you're only in an echo chamber listening to people that agree with you. If all of you are wrong, then it doesn't matter if everybody in the world agrees with you. If the correct answer is different than your preconceived answer, then you need to get out there and figure out what the correct answer is. And it doesn't matter how many people hold a knife to your throat trying to tell you you're wrong now because you came across the correct answer. If you have facts to back it up, that doesn't change reality. You can't just get angry and expect reality to bend at your whim. That's not how this works. Reality is reality, unfortunately. And we all gotta live in it. So, if you want to go and try and have a conversation with somebody, don't get mad if they disagree. Try to understand their point of view, research it, figure out if they're right or not, make sure you're using actually good unbiased sources to get your information, and come to an unbiased conclusion that gives you the correct answer. Because sometimes the answer that you don't expect could be correct. Now, that isn't to say that everything you believe is wrong, but I am saying that all of us have things that we believe that are likely not true. All of us can learn new things. None of us know everything. None of us are perfect. That's all I'm saying. We all have room to grow intellectually and as humans. And I think that that's healthy for society.
Being streamed, so a chatter actually called him out for promoting AI images, right? And Markiplier actually does admit some guilt here.
The accusations of you promoting an AI image winning an art contest because it was interesting, I would say, totally valid, fully valid. And I would say it was interesting.
Is it?
It was interesting. Not in like a, oh my God, it's fascinating. And what's funny about this is, again, this might be a dating thing. People might have seen that when it got uploaded to that Spotify feed for Power Wash. That video with MatPat, I'm looking right now, is from September 6th, 2022. I might have been really excited about it. I certainly might have been. I'm not denying that in that video. I'm not going to be like, I hated it then. It's 2022. That was back when it was first getting started, when it was, to me, it was an exciting new venture. That was before the nightmare started to really emerge. But it's 2022, so I can't say that I was immediately informed in my opinions about how quickly it was going.
None of us were informed in our opinions. 2022 AI was still pretty new to all of us. So, I mean, you can't really make the argument of like, oh, I was informed as to what went into it, because most people didn't actually know what was behind these large language learning models or whatever. They didn't know. Nobody did. The only people that knew were maybe the people that were planning to create them to where they are today. Maybe they had a vision or an idea of where this would go, but the average human, the average content creator on YouTube is not going to know that. Why would Markiplier know that? He plays freaking video games for a living, doesn't he? Like, why would he know? So, no. Ultimately, Markiplier is at no fault for that. Everybody used ChatGPT when it was new. Nobody really even thought about implications like that. We were all still just fascinated with the shiny new toy. That's quite literally what was going on, and that's why now it's shoehorned into literally everything. That's why I said earlier, your special Japanese toilet that you just bought, because I know you're rich as shit, out here doing all the craziness that you gotta do to get that Japanese toilet. Now you have that special bidet that sprays your butt after you take a poop, and now the AI, when you're done, tells you how great of a job you did pooping. Congratulations. It's literally everywhere. Also, no, I don't actually have one of those toilets. That was just literally an example. I am not that rich. However, maybe we could treat it like DoorDash and finance it. No, I'm just kidding.
Going to destroy everything.
I mean, I feel like that's a more than good enough response to the situation. I feel like you can't, like, you know, when AI was, you know, initially coming out and stuff like that, you can be awestruck and excited by those images and knowing all the possibilities, right? I'm not gonna lie, I'm scared, but also really excited about AI because a lot of
Yeah, but back then we also didn't understand that it was just stealing, at least most people didn't understand, that the AI was just stealing art from other people and then putting it all together. Like, when I first saw AI, I had no idea that that's how the AI was creating the images. I just saw the images and thought, oh, this was cool. And me and my wife, even though we both actually create art, like, we genuinely both like to draw and do digital art, we used it in the early stages of it because we thought it was interesting to be able to create whatever you wanted at a moment's notice. We had no idea that AI was stealing art from other people that thought up and created that art. It's like stealing intellectual property. And that is a bit of a problem because that's quite literally content theft. So I understand that. Also, it kind of sucked back then. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I had to try to create a waifu once. I don't even remember which one it was. I just wanted to create a hot anime girl for something. I think I don't even remember what I was going to use it for. I think I just wanted to see if it could do it. And instead of creating an anime girl, it created a anime girl with the skin of her arm peeled back It was like one of the most gruesome things I had ever seen. I was like, yep, done with this. So yeah, back then, AI was not nearly as good. It was very gross. And nowadays, it's a lot better. I haven't used it in years, but yeah, it is a lot better now. I have seen the art on Twitter. I have fallen for it myself. Somebody who actually does understand art enough to usually know what to look for, or at least I did. Now I don't think I know anymore. Yeah, I fell for it. I looked it over, some of the stuff that my wife has shown me, and even she's better at identifying that stuff than me, and a lot of the time she can't figure it out now. So it's definitely a problem that you can't tell the difference anymore.
Cool shit will be coming. I'm particularly excited about, maybe transferring consciousness into like a video game, and then you can, if you guys have seen the anime like Sword Art Online, if you can play something.
Oh hell no! Why the hell would I want to go? No, was it Aincrad? No. You want Pegasus? What the hell, man? You want us all to get stuck in a VR headset world? No, dude. I'm not going to the freaking metaverse. I'm not having Zuck have control of me. Hell no. What? If you die in the video game, you die in real life. You know what? No, I'll go there if it's Yu-Gi-Oh! Only if we're gonna do this, forget the sword fights. I'll go in there only if it's like Yu-Gi-Oh! Themed, we all have like dual disc, and I can activate the Seal of Orichalcos on some people. Then we could do it. If we're gonna lose the duel, you lose your soul, fine. At least then it feels cool. If you just die to a VR headset killing you, and you don't even have anything like that, to make it at least feel cooler, what was the point, I could have just played a game on my computer at that point. Like, why would I want that?
Something like that in real life, holy shit, dude. But also, I see stuff like the Studio Ghibli images floating around, not gonna put it for obvious reasons, but, I'm like, okay, this is amazing. It's being generated in 2 seconds, but also, oh shit, I feel really bad for the artist, and, it affects my conscience, and I'm like, oh shit, okay, I'm probably not gonna use this shit, right?
Let's be real, the Studio Ghibli stuff was all over the internet when that first dropped. Let's not even pretend like everybody wasn't using that, because they were.
Because, I'd feel bad for someone just replacing somebody's entire job in like a click of a button, because what if people start doing that to me, right? What if people start watching AI versions of me that is just way better than me and I could never compete or something, right?
I just brought this up. I brought this up earlier. I said earlier in the video that this was a possibility. That AI could potentially replace content creators in the future on YouTube and other platforms. It's a very real possibility. I don't think it's going to replace somebody like Pegasus. I think he is way too well established now at this point that it is not a threat for him. But for small creators, this is a massive concern.
And, you might think you'll never get to that point, but, you're a fucking smug-ass narcissistic human, so don't worry, the bots will get you. Then we get to that cut-up clip that we saw a while back that made people really mad and called him, like, a person who hates black people for some reason.
I'm on your side. I'm on your side, but I'm more of the alignment with the awareness part of it. I get the wanting to boycott it. I understand that. And I think that there is something to be said about that. However, we're all up against these giant mega corporations, and they're not going to stop. But that doesn't mean it's hopeless. I'm not saying I never used it. I'm not denying that I never used it. I would be completely hypocritical if I said that I never used it, because I found the technology fascinating. But I'm also not going to say like it's entirely a thing. I haven't used it for months. Oh, I don't use ChatGPT anymore. I forgot to mention that. I don't use it anymore. I can't entirely say that it was out of selflessness, but I don't use it anymore because it was dumb. It was fucking stupid, and it started to piss me off. And then I started to think about it, and I was just like, God, this is such a pain in the ass.
Man.
Well, I mean, good on him for not using it anymore. If he doesn't want to use it, that's up to him. But I mean, I'm just saying, who cares? If it's his own personal choice not to use it, fine. He's still using AI probably, whether he likes it or not. Like he said, he's on YouTube and stuff. He's facilitating it. You can't do anything about that. That's just part of being on the internet. AI is now a part of the internet, and there's no escaping that. But if he doesn't want to use it, that's up to him. You can't make other people's decisions for them. Me personally, I very rarely will use ChatGPT or Grok or whatever. Like, I asked Grok specifically about the entire Markiplier situation because it was happening on Twitter. So I figured that Grok would be the best AI to ask because Grok is basically integrated into Twitter. So I figured it could give me the best answer out of all of the chatbots. As far as ChatGPT goes, though, I find that ChatGPT is more reliable when it comes to asking for like factual information and stuff. But really, I don't use AI that much outside of like if I Google search something, and generally I'll skip past what the AI prompt says at the top and I'll just go to links and just look for a website that I trust. I really don't like to trust AI for answers, because if AI gets it wrong, then if it's something important that I'm Googling, I'd rather not find out when it's too late, if you know what I mean.
And I actually really feel bad for Markiplier. The fact that he actually had to address this, that it got so big that he legitimately had to make a 1-hour stream. And Markiplier, like, I feel like he never addresses drama like this, right? And the fact that he thinks he has to walk on eggshells and he has to prove to everybody, hey guys, I'm not using AI, I'm actually not doing anything here. It's like, I feel like if you're searching something in ChatGPT, I don't think you're the devil. Is that a crazy opinion or whatever? I don't know. The thing is, if you start policing people like that, it can very easily be turned on you, because here you are on YouTube, a platform that definitely uses AI. When you clicked this video on your recommendation, obviously the people who are subscribed, you're legends, but a lot of people clicked it from their home tab or their recommendation, and that was formulated through AI. They saw your
Yeah, I was just explaining this too. AI is literally running the YouTube algorithm. This is something that they have been open about for a while. YouTube has explained on their creator guide channel and in updates and everything else many times now that AI is running YouTube. It's sad. I honestly prefer when the platform was going off of watch time, more so than what an AI thinks, because if an AI doesn't understand your content, then it's very hard to get it into the YouTube algorithm. If the AI understands your content, then great. You have to make it so simple that it can understand it. And I think it's getting a little better, but overall, AI is still not the best when it comes to understanding what humans want, in my opinion. Granted, this is my opinion, but I don't think that AI is really the greatest thing to be suggesting things to people. I think suggesting things that are similar based off metadata and off of how engaged other viewers were is a much more effective strategy than simply making every metric a vanity metric and just letting the AI figure it out. But that's just my opinion. I'm not a multi-billion-dollar corporation, and I'm not in charge of YouTube. So realistically, my opinion means absolutely nothing. And maybe you guys disagree. Maybe you guys think the current YouTube algorithm is great. I don't know. I just think it was better back in the day. I realize that when I go on my home feed now, I see a lot of old content from like over a year or more ago that I've already seen before. It suggests me a lot of repeats of things I've already watched. Sometimes, yeah, obviously it'll show me new stuff, but it is rather annoying when I have to sift through a ton of videos that I've already watched before to find something new. And for some reason, we gravitate to the home feed on YouTube because it's like the easiest thing to get to, whether you're on mobile or whatever. And we just scroll and look for something. And that is kind of our own fault for feeding into it this much. But I don't feel that the AI learns as well as as YouTube seems to think it does when it comes to recommending content to people. I just don't.
preferences through AI and put that shit there, right? So some of you are unknowingly supporting AI just by being on the platform, watching videos. This money goes to YouTube, which goes to Google, which is using that money to create AI. Congratulations, you're part of the problem, right? So let's not pitchfork people who are actually on the human side and genuinely trying to, fight against this unseen mysterious force that is taking over the world, right? AI is really complicated and it's going to be a very interesting future. Let's just stay hopeful and not get mad at Markiplier, all right? Just fill out a job application, put the edit.
Oh my god, what are you doing? You can't show that to my viewers. What the hell, Pegasus? This is offensive. If these viewers could read, they would be very upset with you. I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. I know you guys can read. But this is, let's move on.
Put the edit.
Okay. Wait, is there more?
People are saying, I can already see it now. TikTok videos, engagement farming, and clipping parts that ignore him, clarifying these things that he clarified. He doesn't use AI, doesn't use ChatGPT. The podcast ChatGPT usage and MapPad AI art thing moment is 2 to 3 years old. He's on our side. He's entirely aware of the environmental community impacts, more than most people. He doesn't like AI and doesn't think it should be used. He's trying to show how dumb AI was in Ethan's video. He's just getting bad at getting his intent across. He's funding research for a project that's trying to turn AI into an actual tool that doesn't steal from humans. Well, you kind of got this spot on. A bunch of people are doing that. I really dislike how everyone on TikTok immediately jumped to, oh man, Mark's an insufferable AI bro now. I thought it was beyond ridiculous. Glad he was so open about everything and kind, especially how aggressive and toxic the chat was at the start. I just can't believe people are.
Wait. Was the chat being aggressive and toxic in the beginning? Like, the entire chat was against him? Are you telling me people were actually off Twitter mad about this? Like, they were on YouTube in his own chat. Were people coming from Twitter to actually get mad at him? dude, I'm mind blown. I would hate to be that scared of, or I don't know if Markiplier's really scared of his audience, but I would hate for my audience to be that easily angered over something I did. Simply asking ChatGPT about sunflower seeds does not warrant a bunch of hate and vitriol from your audience. I'm sorry. That is a very dumb reason. And maybe there's more people that are upset about this than I thought. But I would think that to the average normal person that doesn't live terminally online, this would be a really stupid reason to be mad at somebody. That's just my opinion. I really think that this is kind of dumb.
This fucking ridiculous. You either die a hero or live long enough to get taken out of context and rebranded a villain. Classic. Now click this video or...
Alright, that was Pegasus. So, yeah, now you guys know the entire situation with Markiplier. As I mentioned in the beginning, it was really dumb. I lost a lot of brain cells researching this, and I have another video to film after this, so I hope you guys enjoyed this one. The next one, as I said in the last one, I meant to make this one about the internet censorship thing, but I decided I'm just going to go ahead and film this one now and do the internet censorship one afterwards, because I feel that that one is timeless and this one is time sensitive because, yeah, I want it to still be relevant when I post it. I don't want to post it several days late, but realistically, this whole drama was really dumb. I am saddened that an OG creator like Markiplier is being attacked for something this ridiculous. I just can't understand how somebody who's been on YouTube for this long can do something so minuscule and have people that claim to be his fans turn on him like this. It actually is painful to watch. It really does just seem like the internet is out there to try to get blood from anybody that they can. And I hope one day there's just this realization that we were wrong and we shouldn't have done what we did to these people. Because you guys, and I'm not saying you guys in the audience, I'm saying like people on the internet that participate in this sort of behavior, I like understand, yes, these creators are wealthy and whatever and they have good lives, fine. But this sort of thing, sending threats to them and all of this stuff, definitely is damaging to people's mental health. So I can totally understand why Markiplier was upset. And this definitely, because you guys, I know you guys don't think about it this way. A lot of people don't. Maybe, I'm not trying to say you guys in the audience specifically. I'm trying to say these people are not thinking about it from the perspective of, oh, these people that we're watching online are people too. But they are. They're just as human as you and me and everybody else. So, just at least try, when you come across this sort of behavior, to think about maybe this type of thing, unless the person that's being attacked really, like, broke the law or, you know, did something really crazy that actually deserves it. I'm talking, like, you know, actually something bad, not this. Just think about how this behavior is likely affecting these people mentally. Because no amount of money in the world can buy you happiness. That's all I have for you guys today. I hope I see you guys in the next one. Peace.